I mean, there's literally wires coming out. It's all corroded. Can you see that? And then if you look at this one, this wire is messed up too. So I'm going to cut this back a little bit and see how far up it goes. Hello everyone, welcome back to Center Stand Mechanics. My name is Kyle, and today's video is going to be a little bit different. Sometimes a good deal finds you, and not the other way around. I've come across this scooter. I was going to try to get running for my daughter to ride around this summer, and I don't know anything about it. I've never owned one of these scooters before. I'm not even familiar with the brand name or anything. It just, someone had it and they're like, do you want it? And I said, yeah, I'll give it a whirl. I don't know if there's anything wrong with it or what's wrong with it. I have no idea. I think it's a two-stroke, because I did do a little bit of searching around on the internet. Not confirmed yet. I don't have it apart yet, but I think it's a two-stroke. I think it's in a 2008 PGO Metro, if that means anything to you. It looks like it'd be a cool little scooter and stuff, and maybe, get her into riding and stuff, and be a cheap way to get around town and that kind of thing. So yeah, this would be like a can we get it running kind of video. It looks mostly 100% complete. Most of it's there. I don't think there's anything missing. I'll show you it in a minute here. And yeah, and it feels like it's got compression and stuff, but I don't know. It's a mystery. I don't know why it was parked or what. So, but we're gonna look into it and find out. All right, here I'll bring you outside. I got it parked outside. I'll show it to you. Well, here she is in all its glory. It says PGO on the seat here. It's a brand I've never heard of before. I believe it's they're made in Taiwan, but and I assume it'd be like a metric, by like everything's metric on it. I assume. We'll find out. I don't know for sure though. And yeah, everything seems to be here. It's got a top case and nice little glove box in there. Those are handy to have. And everything's freed up on it. It's got both its mirrors. What's it got for mileage? Only 6,059 kilometers. And when was the last time? 2015. 2015. Okay, so this hasn't been ridden in a while. 2015. It's almost 10 years. It is 10 years. Yeah, 10 years. It's been this last plated, so yeah, definitely gonna need a carb clean. Guarantee you, 100%. That'd be the minimum. And definitely need a battery. I don't even know where the battery is in this thing. We'll have to figure it out. And it does turn over though. And it feels like it's got some compression to it too. So that's promising. And one thing that's kind of cool, it's got a disc brake on the front. So that's pretty deluxe. I think I had a Honda Jazz, and I think it was drum on the front. So that's a nice little upgrade. And yeah, so I don't even really know what to take off first. I'm just gonna have to feel around. I'm kind of in the dark here. I haven't watched any videos on this one, so yeah, I'll just have to figure it out as I go. But I assume there'll be a way to get the seat up somehow, and then yeah. Alright, I figured out how to open the seat. So you push the key in and turn it backwards, and it pops the seat up, and it's like a little trunk. And in here was some parts, and looks like they might have been dealing with a no spark issue, because here's a little coil in here. I don't think this is a new coil. It looks like it's a used one, so maybe it's got a new coil on it or something. I don't know, but that's that could be something that's was an issue for them. And then it looks like I'm gonna try to take this the seat liner thing out, and maybe we can get access to the motor that way. Yeah, so it looks like it looks like 4 10mm bolts, and I'll try taking those out and see what happens. So here's the gas tank. It's actually looks really clean in there. Smell the gas. Yeah, it's oldish, but it's not completely bad. So this looks like where the 2-cycle engine oil goes in there. I can't see a level in there the way it is right yet. The fuel tank looks good. Yeah, so I'm going to undo all these 4 bolts here. Alright, let's see what we got here. Alright. Yeah, there's the carb. It's an itty bitty little carburetor, but it looks accessible. And it looks like it shouldn't be too hard to get out of there. And spark plug. You know, I just thought of is I don't see a battery on the way in here. What's this for? What's this tank for right here? It's full of fluid. Oh, that's the 2-stroke oil. It's full. Oh yeah, maybe it's not, maybe they filled it thinking that there was something wrong with that, or yeah, I don't know. What's this? Flasher? That looks kind of cooked. This thing looks like it's been pinched. Sitting there all pinched off. Yeah, so this here tank is the reservoir for the 2-stroke oil. And there's the carburetor. How do I get to the... Oh, there's a cover here. Well, let's take this cover off the front. Reach underneath it here, and I got my plug socket already on there. And then, oh yeah. Alright, plug coming out. Oh, that doesn't look too bad. It looks actually kind of new. It's not used, not like heavily used. Doesn't look too fitted up either. Okay, I'd like to find a battery on here, and then I can maybe rig something up. Where's the darn battery? is the battery box. What is that? No, that's the air box. So air box. Where's the battery? Is the battery under here? Maybe the battery's in here. I mean, where else would it be? The fuel tank's back here. So that's all fuel tank. This is the variator cover. The other side's the exhaust. And this thing here has got to be the air filter, right? So what else is there? It's got to be the battery. Where's the starter on this thing? Okay, I caved. I had to ask Google where the damn battery is on this thing. And apparently it's underneath the floor here. So it's right literally under your feet, as the saying goes. So we're going to pull all these. See, I was using this as a handy tray for all my tools, but apparently there's stuff under here you got to get to. So there's a mat here. Okay, let's... oh yeah, that'd be the battery box right there. Alright, well, let's get some of this debris out of here. I think I'm going to blow this off with my my leaf blower real quick. Alright, moving right along. Batteries under here, I assume here. It's a good thing we got Google, you know. I would have had this thing half apart before I found it. But I guess that's a good place for it, you know. Keep the weight down low and out of the way. Oh, there she be. Be a big ass spider in here or something. The battery's not even hooked up. It's not even hooked up. I doubt it. There's any juice that's, well, it's like got like a really bad connection there. Huh. Oh. I wonder if it's got any juice. I'll tell you what. I'll take this out. I have a battery that I think I could probably just... It's not the right size, but it'll kind of plunk down in there. And I can at least hook it up. So this is the battery that came out of it. I'm just making sure it's 12 volt system because I have no idea. And yeah, it's 12 volt, 3 amp. So... you just never know, eh? Like, I have no idea. I can't imagine it being 6 volt. I think they phased a lot of that out back in the 70s, but what do I know? So if I plunk that down in there, I'm going to check this fuse. There's a fuse right here. Let's just make sure that's good. Oh yeah. It looks good. Doesn't look like a very big one. It's like a 20 amp or 15 amp or something. It appears to be good. Alright, so positive going on first. Up the negative. Let's see if there's any power draw here. I don't see any sparks, so that's Good, nothing should be shorting out. Alright. Let's see if something comes on here. Okay. What do we got? Got an oil light. Oil light went out. Do we have headlights? We might have to be running for the headlight to work. Oh, horn works. Oh, signal lights work. Let's see if the starter works. Oh, there, I had the switch the wrong way. Okay. Okay, so you gotta pull this in. Okay. I'm getting it figured out now. Alright, let's check for spark. So I got this clamp. And hopefully I can get this to just kind of clamp that like that. And then that way, yeah, okay, now I can turn it. And let's see if she sparks. Oop. Nope. No spark. Great. Okay, so that's what's going on here. We got no spark. Okay, so I've rigged up this coil that was underneath the seat. I just hooked it up with, I had an old boot of my own, and I'm just trying one of my spark plugs, because it takes the kind of spark plug that doesn't have the top part. It makes it thicker, you know. So I'm just gonna quickly wire this in and see if we get anything different here. No, nothing. Okay. Yeah, so look at this, guys. I'm peeling this off, and there's a rotten wire right here. You can see it all. It's just rotten. So I'm gonna unplug the horn so I don't get it messed up, because it's kind of in the way. So move the horn wire out of the way so it doesn't become collateral damage. And then so the plan is to kind of cut this back so I can see how far back the damage goes and try to splice in another wire, because it's pretty bad. Okay, can you see this wire now? See how messed up that is? That's really bad. It looks to me like it's the black wire. Or is it the... Yeah, there's a... Oh, look at this. It's even up into here. Oh, the whole wire is messed up. Uh-oh. So this wire that's all messed up, it appears, I think it's a ground wire, because it goes down, and I followed it down to where there's a group of black wires that connect together right here. And I've got this other end hooked up to the positive side of the battery. The key's not even on. At least I don't think, yeah, it's not even on. And so I'm just touching where they join together. So they're all connected to ground. So this bad wire is a ground wire. And it goes, so it comes from this junction where they're all hooked together, goes up into here, which goes into the ignition. And this wire in this ignition harness is messed up too, so I'm going to cut that back and see how bad that one is. Okay, so I just pulled this piece off that it goes in to where the key is, under the back side, goes down into that plug where that bad wire is. And then if you look at this one, this wire is messed up too, so I'm going to cut this back a little bit and see how far up it goes. Yeah, see that? It's just messed up. Huh. Okay, so it's the next day now, and I've had some time to think about all this and go online and kind of take a refresher course on CDI ignition systems for these little scooters. I'm a points guy, so this stuff's kind of foggy to me, but it's pretty simple actually once you get down to it. So here's the CDI, like the brain box or whatever you want to call it, and it's a 5-pin CDI. They have 6 pins. There seem to be more common. I didn't see as many of these ones out there, but there's only a few things that can go wrong with this system. Either this box is no good, or the stator is no good, or the pulse generator is no good. And what else? Or bad wiring or ground or so. Oh, if your kill switch is on, there could be a reason like that. Like if it's got negative, there's a negative. It's always got a constant negative, but then there's also a switch negative. So if your kill switch is on, it sends negative and it grounds out the capacitor in here, and then it won't run. That's what kills it. So that being said, so this thing here goes on the back of the ignition switch, right down in here, and it had a melted ground wire. So I've kind of resoldered on a new ground wire and run it through the loom here. And instead of running it through this connector, I'm just going to like hook it up to somewhere like right here probably, and hopefully that'll work, because I'm pretty sure it's a constant. It went down into this there's a junction. It's probably really hard to see, but this wire melted a whole bunch of stuff, and there's a group of ground wires that all connect to the same little connector right here. They're all soldered together, and it was one of them. There's also this ground wire that goes to the CDI box, and so nothing's on. Like here's the lead for the ignition switch, and this one's always got constant ground. I've got the other end of my test light hooked up to the positive on the battery, so it's always on, right? All these wires are always on with ground. And then there's a ground right there, and then you can test. There's a ground that's always on here, right? So yeah, I'm just gonna rig this up straight to the frame, and it should do the same thing, because reattaching it to this little thing just seems kind of hokey. And I'm also, because this, now that I'm looking at this, there's this ground wire that runs up for the CDI, and it's kind of questionable too, so I think I'm just going to cut it off, fix an end to it, and attach both the grounds right to this little bolt right here, and then that way I got sufficient ground to my CDI box and ground to the ignition switch, and then from there I can continue on troubleshooting this no spark issue, because until I fix this melted wire, there's not much I can really do to move forward. And then going back to the CDI, oops, going back to the CDI ignition system, I believe this is what's called an AC CDI ignition system. Now there is DC CDI ignition systems, but I think this is an AC one. So it's kind of hard to test these to see if they're faulty, but there's things you can do to rule out everything else that would point to this being the problem. And one thing we can do is check the AC voltage coming out of this wire here. This is like a black with a red stripe. Now, as far as I can tell, I think this one goes down into the AC portion of the stator, which provides AC power to the CDI, so we can check that, make sure that's putting out. We can also check the pulse wire, which is this blue one, see if it's putting out a pulse. And then, you know, if those two check out, then I'm pretty sure it's not a coil problem, because there's two, and something tells me the guy was messing around with the coils, and that wasn't the problem. So that's my plan. And then, you know, hopefully it's not the stator, and it's, you know, hopefully it's nothing, and I can sort this out. These are actually cheaper to buy than the stators, and you know, it was hard for me to figure out the exact one for this bike. I wasn't getting the PGO Metro scooter popping up, but there was a lot of PGO, what was it called, the Big Max something or other, Big Max 50 I think it's called, and it seemed to be very similar, and I'm pretty sure it takes the same CDI and everything, it's just a different model. So, you know, and then there's various prices, like you can get these for anywhere from $10 all the way up to $40 or whatever. So, and I'm pretty sure they're the same thing. You know, it's basically what's called a 5-pin CDI box, and then there's the 6-pin. So that's what I'm hoping. But before we get to that, I'm going to snip off this little ground wire that goes, because it's not, like, it's just hanging on by a thread. So I'm going to snip it off and remake it with a proper connection. So yeah, that took nothing. We'll pull it out of the loom here. And I'm not quite sure, there must be some kind of issue with this. There must be bad ground somewhere, because the everything was, maybe the battery terminal was loose, I don't know. Everything was running through and melted all these ground wires, so something was going on to cause all that, but I'm not quite sure what yet. I like to slide over an extra piece of heat shrink right up to about there, cover the whole thing. And I'm sure lots of guys have their own way that works for them. And that's great. There we go. There. Okay. So that's the ground for the CDI box. So I'm just undoing this random 10mm bolt. Oh, I guess it holds the bracket for the, okay. So we're going to hook up 2 grounds. Okay. Okay, so that is the kill. So when you turn the key off, that should be on, because that grounds the CDI box. And when you turn the bike on, it goes out. So that's working. And then we got our constant ground right here. Okay, cool. And then I'll hook our horn back up. Just gonna plug the CDI box in, see if, crank it over and see if we got any spark, but I have a feeling that we haven't solved anything yet, but we'll see. Just gonna zip tie this. Hopefully that's long enough. Come on. There we go, that's all I need. A couple of clicks. That should be good to go. Power on. Oh, it was on. Yeah, no spark. I'll just switch the leads around on the coil just in case I have them mixed up. Okay, so back to the drawing board. It's okay, I'm not surprised. Let's test the stator wire and see if we're getting AC voltage here. So we'll take this back off. Okay, so we're going to turn this to AC volts. Yeah, we're getting AC volts. You see that? So there, so it's settled down, and then I'll hit the starter. Yeah, it's 71 volts. Okay, that's promising. So next, we can check our pulse wire here. Let's see what the pulse wire puts out. Yeah, it's putting out. Okay, well, maybe it's just a bad CDI. I have a hunch, and with those two tests, I think it's this box here, because the stator's putting out power, the pulse generator's putting out power. You know, I have one of these showing up, I think tomorrow, in the mail. It was like $10. I think I'll plug it in and see if it works. And then before I take apart a whole bunch of other stuff, I don't think it has anything to do with it. It's putting out, that's the correct amount. It's anywhere from 50 to, I can't remember. It was 50 to 100, say. I can't remember exactly, but it was like 72 volts. So that's pretty good. And then same with the pulse generator. So unless it's the coil, but I tried both coils. Alright, I got my impression tester here. Work it in there somehow. There we go. There, I got it. Let's tilt it up just a little bit. because we could have a whole other world of problems if we ain't got no compression. Probably should have checked this earlier on too, but I got all obsessed with no spark. There we go. There. Put this somewhere we can see it. So throttle open, and we'll see what we got here. Oh wow! Oh my god! Are you kidding me? That's crazy. It jumped up to 150. That is sick. Okay. That's way more than I thought it was going to be. I was like, you know, it might run on 90. You know, I was kind of iffy. That's awesome. Let's try that again. Yeah, the blue is the PSI. So wide open throttle. Yeah, that time we got 130. So I don't know why it's different. Try it one more time. Alright, that time we got like almost 150. We got like 148, 147. That's pretty good. I mean, it'll run on that. That's awesome. Okay. Compression check. That's pretty cool. So maybe it just needs a CDI, and we'll be golden. But I won't know until tomorrow. Hey there, I'm back. It's several days later. Just doing a little more work to the scooter here. I'm waiting on some ignition parts to come in the mail. They might actually be here today later on. So I thought I'd clean the carburetor out, or just at least check it, you know, and make sure it's pretty clean. I'm just checking the fuel out and see if there's any water or anything. It's it actually doesn't look that old. It doesn't even smell that old. That's weird, eh? I thought this bike hasn't run for 10 years. It doesn't smell that bad. I wasn't expecting that, so anyways, let's see, let's take the bottom off here and have a look. This carburetor came off really easy. It's just a couple of 8mm bolts that held this on, one lead, a fuel line. This back part wasn't even connected to the airbox, so maybe it was off. You know, they probably had it off because they're trying to figure out why it wouldn't run, and they're probably messing around with it, whoever it was. That's my guess. So it never went back on properly. So this is probably cleaned out because they're probably in here. Yeah, it doesn't even look that bad. There's a little bit of stuff in here, but it's hardly anything really. There's some, you know, gasket maker stuff on there. Not a big deal. And then, yeah, so we'll just quickly go through this. Yeah, there's nothing in the needle seat. Let's take the needle off. Just checking the float, make sure it's not saturated with gas. This little plunger here always gets overlooked. I never see anybody talk about it. But I've had problems with carbs flooding because this, you know, little plunger doesn't spring back. Oh, come on, stop doing that. And it always gets overlooked, but yeah, so you want to make sure that that's springing back. It's actually a very small little needle. And then I'll just check our main jet here, and everything looks pretty clean in here. Oh yeah, I can see right through there. Oh yeah, that's totally clean. I'll just take out the pilot here. Pilot looks plugged. Yeah, I think the pilot's plugged. What works really good for really small holes is guitar string. I always keep a couple different sizes. You want like the smallest E string on a guitar. And metal strings, obviously. Yeah, see, I can get that through. Works every time. Let's see if I can. Oh, yeah, it's very small. Well, obviously, it's a small machine. So as long as that's through, and we'll just. Yeah, the side holes look good. Yeah, that looks pretty good. I think for the most part, this thing's. So here's your enrichment valve here. This is like your, you know, your choke on your carb. Allows more fuel in. Let's see if I can get this out. Alright. Yeah. That's clear. I'm gonna have to blow through all this with a. Oh, and there's the where's the air screw? Fuel screw right there. See how many turns out it is. Half. 1. Half. 1.5. Probably a wash or two, a little O-ring or something. There we go. Yeah. Little minuscule little O-ring. It feels good though. It's not all dried up. So check the intake gasket here. I might see if I have a new one. This one actually looks like it's got a bit of a hole in it right there. Yeah, see, it's falling apart. Let's see if I can replace this. But I'll pull it out, and then we'll clean it out, and then see if we can find another one. Yeah, you see right here, it's falling apart. So that's probably not an issue yet, but you know, it will be soon. And then I've got the throttle slide. It's on the machine. It comes down with the throttle cable. And then we got our idle adjustment right here. Not much can go wrong with that. It moves. And yeah, so I'll just go and blow all this out and just put it back together. I think this carb's pretty clean. It's not bad. Okay, quick little carb clean here. I don't think it needs to go in the ultrasonic cleaner. Be changing some of these. I mean, this is just a vent, but some of the stuff's all cracked up though. Yeah. Gonna make sure that, don't forget, that's the fuel line right there. Yeah. Oh, wait a minute. No, that's the vent. That's the fuel line. Huh, you see that? This here is the vent. Right here. You can see right through it, right down into. And they had the vent hose, because I pulled the fuel line off of here. This was, that's weird, eh? That didn't come off of here, did it? No, it doesn't fit. What's going on? Well, that's really weird. This was on here like so, and this was like this. It was tucked into here. That's weird. This, to me, looks like where the fuel comes in. Right here, not through here. I don't know, man. Let's, okay, let's blow this out anyways. I'll just check under here and make sure there's no gunk and crap under here. Oh yeah, see? There's a bunch of crap in there. So we'll spray that out. Oh, I'll put it over here. Yeah, we'll just blow it out. Okay, I got all the carburetor bits here kind of laid out. Dug out a couple of O-rings here out of my O-ring bin. This one to replace this one. This is like the manifold gasket. I think this one will work. And then this one is for on here, because this had a little O-ring around this base here, and it went down in there, and I'm gonna try to stretch this one over top and make that work. Okay, but first let's go in here and we'll start putting this together. There. So that's ready to go back on. Oh, I should probably put like a vent, the proper vent where it properly goes, which is over here. Okay, got some holes here. So we'll put that there like so. And then I'll just cut this off. It was cut off on an angle like so. And then I'll find a little clamp for that. clamp on here. Put it on here like so. Where's my I don't have my, I'll just put this on here. There we go. There. And then that goes down here like so. Hopefully not pinching that off. Where did I get this here? There. Just gonna check to make sure that can breathe. Yep. That should work. Cool. There's one more little thing. There's like a drain tube. I'll put a new drain tube on there too. Warm this up. This is some old fuel line that I keep. I don't like throwing stuff away, so. It's just for the drain. It had a short little piece on there, so put that on there like so, and then yeah, so that's good to go. Pretty confident that should work properly. Oh, this fell out. Let's keep an eye on that. All right, so yeah, maybe I'll throw that back on the machine and then maybe go check the mail. I was going to demonstrate how these vacuum operated petcocks work. And a lot of you guys probably know this, but there's a line on the intake. That's your vacuum, right? So this here line, this one here is the vacuum. So it gets vacuum when the engine's running. It's pulling in fuel. So a little bit of vacuum sucks on this, and then opens up the fuel petcock. So what I'm going to do is I want to drain the fuel out. So an easy way to do that is just to get it to come right out of the tank. So if I pull this out, there, fuel's running. Hopefully you can see that. You see the fuel, right? So if I push this in, the fuel stops. And then if I pull this out, I don't have one of those fancy vacuum guns, but so I'm just going to let that drain out. I want to get rid of all the fuel in this tank, and then I can put fresh gas in it. I'm having troubles finding any information on this particular scooter online, and I don't have a service manual to go by specs. I'm kind of comparing it to other, you know, engines of that size, like scooter engines I'm talking about, and I don't have a lot to go off. In fact, even just looking for this part, I can only find scooters of that brand, like different models, that to compare to. Like I can't find this exact one. I think, and then the only place I've maybe like I could find this part was in like France or Germany. And it was like $100 something, and then, you know, it's like probably 3 weeks to get it shipped here and everything. It'd take a while anyways. I don't know, it could be longer. And then there's this guy. This is like a Chinese version for 50cc or various engines of that size. It's got this same diameters and stuff. It's not as beefy. The coils aren't as beefy. But you know, it might work. I'm gonna try it anyways. The only thing that's a little bit different is the width of these two where this bolts on. This is slightly wider, so I might, you know, have to like widen this out a little bit so I can get this on, especially being that this is the part that I think is fouled up. So I'll have to do that. Plus these cords are the terminals are different. So I got these little, just to test this out, because I don't want to cut this one up yet. You know, but when I find out that this is actually going to work and everything, I'll rig this up. I'll probably splice this end into here so I can just plug it right into the machine. And but for now, for testing purposes, I'll put these little female blade terminals on here, and you know, plug it in, see if it works, hope for the best, and hopefully we can get some spark. That's the plan for today anyways. And I did grab another coil online. It's the same thing. Couldn't find the exact coil for this machine, but what I'm finding out is there's a lot of, like, you know, scooters of this size take very similar, you know, ignition parts and stators and stuff like that. Like, they're all, you know, pretty much the same thing, as far as I can tell. I mean, I'm gonna find out here in a sec. And then I ordered another spark plug too. This is the one that came off, and I got a new one here, right here. So we'll try that too. And yeah, so yeah, I'll get started here and put these terminals on, just try it out, and hopefully we can get this thing to flash up. So I got these terminals all fixed on here. This one I didn't have to change. It should just plug right into this wire on the machine. And this is a ground wire, so we'll just leave that one out for now. And yeah, let's go give this a whirl. So I don't know about this, guys. I don't know if this works. I'll be amazed. So I had to kind of widen out these holes here because the spread it's wider on the machine than what this was set up for. And by judging by the way the other one sat, you see this coil here, this is a special one. This is the exciter coil for the CDI, and it was pointed forward as far as I could tell. So we'll do that again. Yeah, looks like it does. I mean, if this works, that'll be cool, because these are only $20, you know, and I got it like pretty much the next day. I think it took 2 days for it to ship to me, and $20 compared to like $110, $120 in 3 weeks. So yeah, that bolts right up. That part's cool. So then you want your wires to tuck down, because once the flywheel's on here, it'll spin around. It'll cut into these if you don't get these placed down there. And hopefully there's enough gap, or not too much gap. I think you can bend these, tilt them in a little bit if need be. I'll just spin this thing. There. That looks a lot better now. I just cleaned that up. A little bit of emery cloth and some WD-40. Give that a wipe. Okay, so I'm looking for the slot. Here's the key. The slot is pointed up. Now this will probably pull itself on a little bit. There. Like so. So I'll just give that a quick little... There. I don't want to go crazy on it just yet. just want to test this out. So, just gonna plug in these wires. Hopefully you can see what I'm doing. And then so I'm just matching up the colors. Okay, so that should work like that. Here's the moment of truth. So I'm just going to hold this plug on the negative terminal on the battery. Turn the key on. I'll try cranking it here. And nothing. Okay. Let's try a different coil. Try a different CDI box, I guess. Oh yeah, look at that. There's spark. Get you nice and close. You see those beauties? I see them. Beauties. Well, that's cool. So I'm just putting the old stator in because at first the other one didn't work, and then I switched the coil and then it started working. So I'm not sure if this coil is bad or not yet. Or sorry, I'm not sure if this stator's bad or not. Yep. So I'm going back to the old one and gonna give it a try. I also put in the new CDI box, and with the new CDI box and the new coil, it worked. I got spark, but so I'm gonna try this old stator with the new CDI and the new coil and see if we got spark. I'd rather use this one because it's in much better shape, plus it has the proper fitting and everything. And so yeah, so going back to the old stator, let's go put this on. So we're giving this a try now. Oh yeah. Okay, so old stator with the new coil and the new CDI box, and I have spark. Okay, so I just tightened up spark plug, and just gonna put some premix in because I'm not sure if the oil injector thing is working. So it's not really an oil injector, it's kind of like just a feed, oil feed pump thing. And then yeah, so I'll just put the tank, I drained the tank the other day, you probably saw that, and I went through the carb. So all that's left to do is put some fuel in it and see if we can start it. The gas won't flow until I start turning the engine over, and then that'll create a vacuum which will open up the petcock. I'm just going to clip this off the brake lever here because this is connected to the back brake and I won't be able to rev it up if I want to. If it starts, hopefully it will. Alright, let's give her a whirl here. Started right up. That's funny. Wow. It wanted to start. Just turning the idle up a little bit. actually pretty quiet, eh? Now I don't have any of the fan cooling shroud on, so I can't run it too long. And but I'll definitely be putting that on. Wow, it runs great. And it's probably going to be a little extra smoky. Hasn't run in like 10 years. Pretty good. Oh, little smoky. Oh, I probably have to set the idle and everything. I think the chokes come off, so I'll have to set the idle mixture screw and all that. Runs pretty good. Try. Quiet. Yeah, I'm gonna have to set that air screw. You can tell it's not set right. I think there's too much oil in the mix now. I think that oil injector is working. And let's see if we can adjust this out a little bit. There's too much oil in the mix. hot now. Let's shut her down and think about our next move. Whew. Stinky. Yeah, there's way too much oil in that mix. It's several days later and I'm gonna get back working onto the little scooter here. And this came in the mail. So this is a brand new, extremely cheap Chinese carburetor. It's like $35 for this whole thing on Amazon. And I think just by looking at the pictures is kind of how I eyed this one up, but I think it's the same one. So I'm going to take off the original carb and try this one out and see if it's any better. Looks like it's missing the O-ring right there. I was going to pop the bottom off and just kind of make sure everything's in here properly. Alright, so looking at these two carbs side by side, you can tell they look, you know, pretty much the same. They're almost identical, really. This is the only difference I see, this little tube right here. I'm not sure what's that's all about. Probably just plug that off. But you know, you look at them, I mean, they're almost exactly the same. Now, one big difference that I'm noticing by looking at it, if you look at the size of the bores, so you know, for instance, this one's got a much larger bore than this one. This one actually looks sleeved down. You can actually see where this one would be, and then there's like it's almost like an insert's been put in or it's been filled in, you know, to reduce the airflow. And then same with the throttle. The throttle is bigger on this one and, you know, scaled down on this one. So I wonder if this one will make it, you know, give it more power, more air and fuel. I mean, we can find out, right? So here's a good tip, actually. I'm just about to start this thing, but because it's a new carb, I'm not sure how that throttle is gonna be, if as far as like how far up the you know, the idle is set. It could be stuck in there, who knows, and you could get into like a runaway two-stroke situation, and you can't just turn the key off. Like, they'll rev up to, you know, a maximum, and then that's it. You can't turn it off. And the only way to turn it off is either take the fuel away or take the air away. And there's no petcock on this machine, so my plan is to stuff a rag in the intake if it runs away on us, because and I have to change this air filter anyways. So, you know, here's the carb right here. So if for some reason I start it up and it just goes wah, full blast, I'm just going to stuff a rag right in there, and that should kill it. It's not going to be pretty, but it's good to have a plan. You don't want to be down here when it's redlining trying to get this off and then it blows up in your face. So that's the plan, and we should be able to start this thing now, hopefully. That's weird. Why doesn't the electric start work? Yeah, I'm just kicking it over. I can see the fuel going into it now. Take a few kicks. There we go. much yet. Oh, it's got way more power. I can feel it. Oh yeah, it's got way more power. Crazy. I gotta get in there with a small screwdriver and adjust the idle. Crazy, man. Just putting the air cover back on and see if it runs any better. It idle stiff now. Oh yeah. Yeah, it's not bogging anymore. Now it's got the air cover on. Oh yeah. Cool. Alright. Let's take it for a little boot. Alright. Got my helmet on. Let's see how she rides. Go for a little boot ski. Oh yeah, she's peppy now. She's peppy now. Oh, she goes way better than before. Oh yeah, she lights right up. Oh yeah. Running way better. Put my jacket on. It's too excited. Well, it runs. It's running a lot better with that carb actually, but I think there's something going on. Like it's not going up into high gear. I know it's variable speed, so there might be something going on in that varier pulley, and it's not pushing the belt up to the top or something like that. It feels to me like now it's just going right. It's hitting red line and just staying stuck there, and then it's, you know, utilizing a lower gear ratio and not going very fast, if you know what I mean. Something like that is what I think is going on next, but I'll tackle that in another video. I think I'm going to end the video here. And yeah, it was kind of hard at first figuring out why there was no spark. I was kind of going waffling back and forth between CDI box and stator, and it was weird. I put this new stator on. This is the Chinese cheap Amazon stator. I put that one on, and I got no spark. So I'm like, well, that's weird. Then I put the new cheap Amazon CDI box on, and I got no spark. So then I put the new cheap Amazon coil on, and I got spark. So I'm like, okay. So then I took the new stator off, put the old stator on, and I still had spark. So, and I like the old original stator better. So I left that on. And then I pulled the new CDI box off, put the old one on, got no spark. So okay, so I pulled that off, put the new CDI box on, and the spark came back. So, and then the same with the coil. Like it came with two coils, this bike. I got a third one from Amazon, and it only seems to work with the new coil and the new CDI box. So a combination of the two, maybe something got shorted out, I don't know. But that's how I ended up getting it to run. And then we got the cheap carb. Here's the original carb here. Notice that it has a much smaller bore, so it's definitely opening up more on that one. So, but you know, it's doing a lot better than it was. It wasn't running before, so that's cool. And it's mostly complete. You know, there's not much really I need to do to it other than figure out why it's not going up into a higher gear ratio. It's probably, you know, the varier. There's these little, I don't know, I haven't had it apart yet, but there's these little rollers, and sometimes they get flat spots and they get stuck. They don't roll out, and then they're supposed to roll out and force the pulley. However it works, it makes it squeeze to the belt, and then it goes up higher on the pulley, if you know what I mean. I don't know. We'll look into that next time on the scooter and see if we can, you know, make it go faster. I think I was getting about 40 kilometers an hour on a flat, and I think that scooter should do at least 55, if I'm not mistaken. 55 kilometers, so that's about, what is that, 30 miles an hour, something around there. So yeah, so hopefully we'll keep